Hey everyone, Enie's 20. Another year, another media thread. So yeah, we're halfway through March, and I decided finally to hit up at least the January and February media threads before we get there. I haven't done as much as I thought, so they should be quick, especially in February, but might as well get them done anyway. Yeah, so the year started in, obviously in January. But January 7th specifically is when I finished reading Wishsong, which was the third book, the last book in the Sword Trilogy, which I did a deep dive episode on already, a four-lens report on it. So I could go through it real quick here, which is just that I really liked it. Twin protagonists, or not twins, I don't think they're twins, they're just siblings. Bryn and Jer go off on a quest to save the land from evil. Yeah, there we go. Done. Easy. Using the power of the Wish Song, with Bryn having a Wish Song that affects reality and Jer having one that does illusions. Last book with Alanon, Ronli is another protagonist. Meet a bunch of people, gotta destroy the Ildatch. Jer has a whole crew, and all of them die. So, you know, simple stuff. I really did like it. Just because there's certain characters that I really like in every book, and for this one, Garrett Jax was just one of the supporting characters that I really liked when I first read the book. So I was really happy to read it again, see him again. It was quite an adventure. Very different. Once again, another different vibe from the second book, which had so much war and conflict in it from the fight against the demons, and this one does not have a lot of that. If any of it really, except for one battle scene. So it's like, it's very different the direction that it goes in, but I really enjoyed it. That was a good one. And since then I have read First King, so that one's done. Can't wait to read more. It's been very fun revisiting Shannara and Terry Brooks' stories, and I really look forward to doing to rereading more of the ones that I know I really like, and getting to the new ones that I've never read, which those are far away. Next thing, on January 11th, I finished Astro Bot. This is one of my Christmas gifts. This is just a fun, silly little game. Well, I say silly, charming, I guess, more than that. Astro's Playroom was a lot of fun. I remember, because it's installed on PS5, I think, by default. I don't know if you have to buy it. I don't think so, because it's supposed to be like a demo for the controller. But I played Astro's Playroom one day just because it was there, why not? And I completed it that same day, because it's not that hard of a game. But it is fun and charming, and this was that, but more. It's like they took Astro's Playroom and just made it bigger, and Astro Bot is just a fun platformer. The bosses are really entertaining. There is some challenge every so often. The big, what's it called? At the end of the game, when you have to walk up that tower of like 300 bots to get into the portal for like the end, that was actually kind of difficult. That took me quite a few tries to do. And some of the letter dimensions were all the same way, symbol dimensions, but like it's just fun. Like I could never be too frustrated with it because I was enjoying myself. Also, all these special planets that kind of like recreate certain games like God of War or Ape Escape or Uncharted, they were just really fun. It was a good experience of going through like PlayStation history. So like I definitely recommend it. That was a good time. Also, I got the platinum on the 15th, 4 days later. So that was neat. Easy. Okay, January 26th, skipping a bit, I watched Bakuage Sentai Boonboomger, GekijoBoon, The Promise the Circuit. Boonboomger movie. Yeah, it was a Boonboomger movie. The Super Sentai movies are really strange to me, because like, whereas the Kamen Rider movies get pretty long, or at least are like over an hour, or like have just, they do more with their plots. I think the Super Sentai movies, not the crossovers, just the basic movies for each season, they're like 30 minutes. They're basically episodes, I swear. Like, granted, Kamen Rider Revice, that movie was not a movie. Like that, the Revice movie was basically like actually an episode. At least the Sentai movies are sometimes a bit longer. But that was fun. I finally watched it. Like Boonboomger at the time was almost over, and I finally went back to watch this because they did pull like one element from it and put it in the series with the lady that they help here get home and all stuff and get away from the Hashirian captain that they had to fight this time. Good, it's fun, simple. And it's kind of funny noticing it now since it was the same thing later that there was no big mecha fight at the end of this one. Granted, because one of the plot points was that all the Boom Boom cars were taken by one of the bad guys that they were fighting, and the entire racetrack that they were on was turned into a monster. And even funnier is that the movie opens with them doing like a collab with Hikanin, I think. This really famous Japanese YouTuber. He's huge. And it's just so amusing because I only came to know him through Hololive a few years back because he did a video for, I want to say Ozokayu, but I could be wrong. But it was just amusing seeing him. Like, oh, I know you. Because it's usually when they bring on special guests for Super Sentai or Kamen movies, I don't know who they are because I'm not that familiar with Japanese actors or Japanese celebrity people. Same day? Yeah, same day I watched the Kamen Geats movie Four Aces and the Black Fox, which is the movie right after the end of the series. Loved Kamen Rider Geats. This was really cool because it brought back some other riders for it. You had a Lopo and the Old Man were in this movie, which is really neat. And you got to fight, and they have to fight these assholes from the future. That's how I put it here. God Slayers. It was kind of amusing how just seeing Geats be separated by himself into multiple parts. Like the one that has all the skill, has all the power, the one that has all the smarts, the one that has all the luck, and then the one that has nothing. And they over specialize in those things, so they're easily captured. But yeah, I just enjoyed it because Geats, I really like Geats, and there's a lot of really cool things about it. Choreo is one of the things that's really neat, but the fight scenes in Geats were fantastic, and it's always the same. I love the characters too, and suit designs are awesome. So the Geats oneness that he debuts at the end, really cool. He has to fight a giant man at the end. This guy goes big in the Black Fox. I think it's Cross Geats, I think is what it's called. Which is funny that for such a cool suit, the guy looks like a dork. Which I don't think that's the first time that's ever happened in a rider. But it's very funny. But yeah. I mean, I know it's just a black and blue Geats suits, but it's a really cool black and blue Geats suits. Then I watched the crossover movie on the 29th. I think that's the last thing I did in January. Which was the Kamen Rider, the Winter movie, Gotchard, and Geats' Strongest Chemy. Great Gotchard. Wow, they have really long titles sometimes. I don't think it needed to be that long. But that's fine. So this movie was interesting. So on the one hand, I was really excited to watch it. For one really dumb reason, and that's the fact that the Geats Chemy, the little cute fox on the top right, is voiced by Fubuki from Hololive. And granted, she spends 90% of the movie just saying Kong Kong. Still adorable. One thing about this movie that there are certain things about it that I think were weird. Pacing. It was really oddly paced. It felt really long too, because they had to take so much time capturing the other level 10 Chemies. I've never liked that they call it level number 10. That seems really repetitive. Like ever since I was introduced in Gotchard, I'm like, just call them level 10s or number 10s. They shouldn't be called level number 10s. I have this whole thing on Gotchard. I don't know if I'll ever get around to doing like a whole more in-depth thing. I talked about it a lot already. But the placement of this movie is a bit weird because it's so early. I mean, granted, it's supposed to be early, but it's so early in Gotchard's run that he's the only rider. Like, Valvarad, Spanner has his Valve Rush form, but that's not really a rider, and no one else is capable of doing that. So it's just kind of left to them to handle their side of the Gotchard stuff, and then the 4 riders from Geats. Granted, they get turned into little marketable plushies for most of the movie, but it's still it feels weird. And the movie, in addition to being weirdly paced with how they have to go after the tree, the castle, and all the other stuff, it also feels like they spend too much time. The movie actually feels like it ends multiple times because they come to the final battle with the last guy. I forgot who was the big bad in this one. Oh right, it was the guy from the series. The series introduces us to 2 other teachers at one point. And the lady teacher goes evil and gets like disintegrated like immediately, and then the dude teacher who's always cleaning his ring, it's like, oh, is he evil? And yeah, obviously he is. And then he's the bad guy here that they have to fight. He turns into Amalgam. I was like, did he turn into a rider? No, he doesn't. He amalgamizes with the sorcerer level 10 Chemy, and then with all the ones, including the Geats one. He gets defeated by Majad. Is it Majad? Majad? I don't know. Rina, because this movie features her first transformation into Majad. She does, and then promptly kicks this guy's butt. And then he comes back anyway, and he fights Geats and Gotchard again. And then they beat him for good. And then he's imprisoned because somehow he survived getting blown up like 4 or 5 times. I was surprised when they were taking him away at the end. I'm like, wait, he didn't get blown up? Then again, like, the same thing happened to the Godslayers at the end of the Geats movie. I thought that they had died, or at least the dude had died, but I think they say somewhere that they were sent back to their time or whatever. Yeah, it was strange. I at least like seeing the cast together. That's always my favorite thing about crossovers, is the cast interacting. So that's a lot of fun, but it definitely felt long. And I remember people commenting this because I saw a thread of on Reddit about people being like, how would you improve Gotchard? And it was like a long thing. People have a bunch of ideas, and one of the things that I agree with is that way too much stuff was taken out of Gotchard and like put into this movie. Like, the hunt for the level 10 Chemies should have been something more pivotal to the series, because we only get the T-Rex and the UFO, and literally the next thing you know, in the show, they have all the level 10 Chemies. It's like, because they got like all of them in the movie. And even Rina, who you walk into the episode where she's going to transform for the first time, she's already done it. So it's not even the first time. Everyone knows she's capable of it. She just needs to relearn how to do it. And it kind of like feels like the episode's a drag, because it's just going through the motions until she transforms into Majad for the first time again. And I'm just like, why didn't you just have that happen in the show first, and then the movie she can be there fighting with them already, and we don't have to, whatever. I did think it was weird that they changed the Geats opening, the Gotchard opening, to have Geats, to have Gotchard, Majade, and Valvarad, like actual Valvarad, not Valvarush, in it before, like 2 or 3 episodes before Spanner even becomes Valvarad. That was weird too. But now I'm not even talking about the movie. Yeah. Like, at least, despite all of it, despite the movie feeling way too long and kind of really slow paced, I did like the resolution between Geats and Constantine, the Geats Chemy, who was also his dog. That was very sweet. That was nice. I like that conclusion. But yeah, I think that's it for. No, it is not. Okay, I forgot. Yeah, there was one more thing. Yeah, the more Geats stuff, of course. The Kamen Rider Geats Extra. It's the Geats Extra, Kamen Rider Gazer, and then Kamen Rider Geats Jyamato Awakening. I watched both those on January 29th. So the Gazer movie was, the Gazer special, it was another TTFC special, was really, really fun. It goes into the DGP producer Niaramu, and it talks about him being created and first being introduced to his role and running his first DGP, as well as the guy who did it before him. I forgot the guy's name. Did I write it here? No. But man, I love the Gazer suit is unreasonably cool, and then the Gazer Zero suit, which takes a lot of cues from Kamen Rider Ichigo, is even awesomer. Like, every time they use the Gazer suit, it's always cool. I mean, they added a scarf to it. How can that not make it cooler? But yeah, the freaking is neat. It was a cool little special, just kind of diving into Niramu. Gave you like it showed how he first got this idea, or why he likes reality, basically, and eating and all this other stuff, and his approach to the DGP, how it was formulated in the first place, which was just really cool. I liked it. That's a very fun little special, and then it directly segues from its ending into Jyamato Awakening, the epilogue movie. I think, is this supposed to be the Visa next for Geats? I forget, but it actually takes place after the series has ended, and it features Michinaga getting his final form, which is really cool, as well as another future Geats, Doom's Geats, which is really awesome. So like, man, it just reminded me again watching this movie, and I watched it twice. I watched it once by myself and once with my sister. How much I love the suits and the action, and just the characters, and just, man, Geats is great. I really love Geats, and this like was an excellent epilogue movie. It was all about because at the end of the special with Gazer, we learned that there's a Jyamato god that is like all powerful, and it invades the future world, like the digital world somehow, and it starts destroying everything. And the point of going back in time is to find out what created it, and either stop it from being created or destroy it after it's created, so that it doesn't affect the future. And it's all trying to find out who did it. It's funny because the big twist about the movie is, of course, finding out who the Jyamato god is, but it's also like, I remember when a character gets shot, I was like really thrown off by it, because I was like, okay, there was absolutely no reason for you to do that. You did not have to pull that trigger. What's going on? It felt so off, and I'm like, obviously that had to happen for the rest of the plot to happen, but it was so weird. And then it becomes clear through the rest of the movie, and you're like, oh, that's why that happened. It's like, oh well, now I understand. But man, all the fight scenes were really cool, like as they always are. When both the Geats go at each other, and like the dam in the background explodes, and then one of them reverses time to fix it again. And Michinaga's final form, his Explosion Rage form, is just so cool. It's like, I'm like, man, he went from having just a chainsaw sword to like having a giant chainsaw hand. It's all excellent. It's such a great movie. Such a good time. Just a really good Geats epilogue. I will say one thing odd about it is that the Geats Chemy movie, the Geats Gotchard movie, and this movie both takes place after the end of Geats. And when Geats ended, Ace had like died and ascended to his state of godhood. I guess they knew that, because he does come back as a god to help them fight off the last DGP guy. I believe so. So I guess they should know. I don't know. I thought it was weird, because I'm like, did they ever know that he became that, or that he isn't really dead? Because he just kind of pops up in the Gotchard Geats movie, and they're like, oh, there he is. Or in this movie, that he just shows up, and they're like, ah, yes, when he shows up to talk to Nudge Sparrow. I forgot the guy's name, but the one who's raising the Jyamato now. And they're just like, oh, look, God's here. And it's like, oh, so you guys all knew? And I guess, yeah, they did know. I don't know. I got confused for some reason. Like, shouldn't there have been a moment where they learned this? Regardless, man, good stuff. So yeah, that's the end of January. Really cool, Geats movies to end the month on. I still have a bunch of Kamen Rider stuff I need to watch, including the new season, obviously, but kind of occupied with other stuff. Anyway, that's all I got for now. And we'll be back for February as we continue with Media Threads in 2025. So until next time, see ya.